About Truckin.
Well, Truckin was one of those songs that was fun to write, and it kind of wrote itself almost. We all wrote this song, really. We all took part in the writing of the song, just in terms of bits and pieces and hunks of it. It really is a joint Grateful Dead effort.
Is there a specific incident that song is based on?
There isn't any one incident. The song makes reference to a couple of things. It makes reference to our bust in New Orleans. It has that little mention of that, but it's kind of a compendium of some of the towns that we were hitting at that time, and it's also a little bit of just writer's license too. That Hunter has a way of seeing into our life. He has a way of remembering stuff and being able to sort of call it forth. This tune does have autobiographical elements, but only a couple, really.
Well, at least one of those elements would have to be the drug bust in New Orleans. Would you tell us about that?
There's nothing much to tell, really. I missed most of it. I came walking, and I went out with some hippies after the show. I went over to visit some people in New Orleans, and we sat up raving most of the night. And finally, about 4 in the morning or 5 maybe, I went back to the hotel, and I'm walking down the corridor of the hotel with my guitar. And I noticed that on our floor, about every other door is open, the lights are turned on, and nobody's around. And this is peculiar in the middle of the night. So I'm coming up to my room, and I notice the door to my room is open. Hey, and I go walking past my room, and I look in, and there's a couple of guys going through my suitcase in my room, and oh God, I knew right away. Oh, so I continue walking. This guy comes out of my room and I look back down the hall, and here's this guy leaning out of the room, beckoning. Hey, psst, hey, you, come back here. So they took me down to where everybody else was, which was in jail. And there's everybody. I come walk into the squad room, and there's everybody in our scene sitting on the floor. Hey, Garcia, hey man, join the crowd. And that was it. We were all busted, and we were all nailed. They had great fun with us too, I might add, too. The Southern cops, they had a lot of fun with us. They had just what they wanted, hippies, oh boy. Truckin'.
So you guys did get out of that New Orleans jail eventually.
At great expense and no small effort, It was a hairy thing. It was actually pretty creepy, and I think what they wanted to do was say, not here you don't, you know what I mean? I think they were just as happy to have us not come back for as long as possible, and to also make it nice and clear that they don't want long-haired rock and rollers in New Orleans, if possible.
Jerry. The Grateful Dead got started at a time when rock bands were getting political. How do you feel about bringing politics into music?
That always used to scare me. It's tough when somebody takes a topical stand and makes their work political. Even if the nature of the politics is to say, give peace a chance, It's like, what you're doing is you're entering in the war game, whether you like it or not, You're saying, give peace a chance is like saying, forget about war for a while, which is really like saying, remember war. You know what I mean? It's back in the 60s, when everybody was either on one side or the other, you know what I mean? Like, we used to spend all our time avoiding being on one side or the other, because in that particular game, there's only one side. And any energy that you give to the idea of war is war. It is all war, and the best thing to do is to drop the whole notion. I mean, fighting about war is just like fighting about anything. It's fighting about peace, you know what I mean? A war is a war, a fight is a fight, and a struggle is a struggle. And if you put yourself in that position, you're going to have to deal with it. I mean, you are playing the game. You're going to have to pay the dues. And so as far as I was concerned, it was always, that's why we never wrote any anti-war songs, you know what I mean? It's because, why participate on any level? Why give war any energy? Any energy you give it glamorizes it. Any energy you give it, even to say that it's a bad trip. It's just like what they did with our cocaine song, you know what I mean? Like, our cocaine song is really fundamentally an anti-cocaine song, Its lyrics are dire. I mean, in terms of, if it takes a position, the position it takes is you're going to get in trouble if you mess around with cocaine, But that song became a celebration of cocaine. It's like you can't get into the drug discussion without being for drugs. And I have rewritten folk music, That's been part of our process, have been to rewrite famous folk songs. Well, it's like our Casey Jones song, or like our Stega Lee song, you know what I mean?
we like to go in there and muddy the water by writing current versions of those tunes.
Tell me about Sugar Magnolia.
Sugar Magnolia, well, that's Bobby's tune, and that he wrote it, they say, about the girl that he was living with at the time, although what happened was that person that he was living with sort of adopted that song really more than I think we actually meant it that way, because Bob's mind doesn't really work that way. It's a good time song. It's a good song. It's still good. Still fun to do. And I contributed the end riff to that. That's my contribution to that song, was the Sunshine Daydream part. Not the lyrics, but the chord changes at the end. And it's a good tune.
Another Grateful Dead favorite is Uncle John's Band. What's the story behind that one?
Well, Uncle John's Band is inspired, I'll tell you, melodically, it's inspired by a little bit of a melodic hunk that I lifted from a Bulgarian folk tune, believe it or not. There's one little turn in the melody that was just a beautiful part of a Bulgarian folk melody that I just loved, and so I needed an excuse to use that in a song, and I put the melody together, and Hunter wrote the lyrics into the melody, and he understood, I think, that my feeling about the melody, which was that I wanted it to be really celebratory. I wanted it to be a holiday and a celebration, an anthem, something of that sort, because the melody contained that kind of feeling to it. And so Hunter wrote into it and came up with that Uncle John's Band thing, which was nice. Come all ye, it's that kind of thing. So, it was a matter of custom tailoring lyrics, really, to the feel of the melody and the sense that I wanted to impart by the tune,
Well, the first days are the hardest days, don't you worry anymore. 'Cause when life looks like easy street, there is danger at your door. Think this through with me.